Good evening, everyone. So NASA is facing backlash because the crew for the next Artemis mission doesn't include any women. Yeah, and especially angry, those who placed bets that the mission wouldn't take off on time. On June 20th, Madison, Wisconsin will hold their annual World Naked Bike Ride. Then the next day, they will hold their annual Burn the Bike Seats Day. In Belfast, a Sudanese migrant screaming Allah Akbar tried to behead a victim in the street. If convicted, the man could serve 5 to 10 years as a professor at Columbia University. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson is being criticized after unveiling a fleet of tiny houses for the homeless to live in. The homeless said these houses are too small, while Peter Dinklage said, hello, 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 hello. Oh. Doctors say the inability to sustain an erection could indicate a serious medical issue. Though they add if your erection lasts longer than 4 hours, contact Don Lemon. Sad news out of New York City after a carriage horse died near Central Park. Cause of death, trying to pull Chris Christie. But there is some good news. The horse is still serving tourists throughout the city. A teacher was arrested for allegedly having sex with a 15-year-old boy after he had accurately drew her bedroom. Note to self, time to remodel the bedroom. Last night, Grant Plattner won the Maine Senate Democratic primary. Yeah, and get this, men who entered his victory party without an invitation were brutally raped.
Is that you?
Yeah, that's his policy. That's his policy, not mine. Send your letters to Plattner. And finally, according to scientists, it's considered normal if you fart 4 to 7 times a day, or what this man calls an elevator ride.
Greg, I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt. There was a guy who just said to his wife, see?
You never know. All right. So on Capitol Hill yesterday, the Southern Poverty Law Center, a left-wing organization that weaponizes the term hate group to smear anyone on the right, had to answer for a DOJ indictment into 11 counts of wire fraud and money laundering. And they just got burned like a cross they placed on a black family's lawn. I wonder, did the Biden DOJ know the SPLC was doing this?
They knew the SPLC was doing this, but they didn't pursue the case. They dropped the case. The guy at the Charlottesville rally helped plan that rally, coordinate transportation there, was paid to attend. After the event, again, after the event where a lady was killed, the Southern Poverty Law Center almost tripled their income. $51 million to $133 million.
Wow, that is a return that could get Nancy Pelosi to raise an eyebrow. So they paid the Klan for cross burnings and recruited them to organize rallies, even when Klan members wanted out. It turns out the SPLC is better at being Klansmen than the actual Klan. But sure, we're the Nazis.
The Republican Party used to be the party of Lincoln. It's nothing more than a debt cult and a political front for the white supremacist movement.
This committee's hearing today is an example of slander against one of the greatest civil rights organizations we've had.
Hate and extremism has migrated significantly online and into government agencies.
What the hell are these douchebags talking about? The first guy calling us racist after paying for KKK crosses? But I get it now. We're finally taking a look under the KKK's white hood, and surprise, once again, it comes in the form of a donkey, a Democrat. Speaking of, check out these asses. Still passing off the fine people hoax like a counterfeit 20 at a 7-Eleven.
In Trump's America, white supremacists at the Charlottesville rally are, quote, very fine people.
We are so upset about Charlottesville. All of a sudden, I would be interested to know which one of you had something to say about Charlottesville when it happened. Their fearless leader at the time said that there were pretty fine people on both sides. You were okay with the tiki torches.
So even 9 years after this lie has been thoroughly debunked, these grifters push the hoax that gets people killed. So you got to wonder, what does the word hate mean anymore? It's just another term that Democrats have destroyed, like choice or fairness or dirty Sanchez. Used to be wholesome. The SPLC took the label hate and they slapped it on everything they could fundraise off of. That included you, me, moms, dads, pro-lifers, Christians, Ben Carson, and of course, Charlie Kirk. Meanwhile, when an honest-to-God violent misogynist shows up with a bona fide Nazi tattoo on his chest, the Dems overwhelmingly pick him. How did that happen? We'll leave it to SPLC CEO Brian Fair on his org's crooked hate map.
Your organization has labeled Dr. King and Charlie Kirk and others. Do you regret that? Are you going to recant?
The SPLC will continue to expose hate and extremism. Moms for Liberty is listed on our hate map because it demeans and vilifies people.
I can assure you, Mr. Fair, that Moms for Liberty is not a racist organization.
Under your criteria, Turning Point USA, Family Research Council, and other conservative Christian groups are considered hate groups. But Antifa and Jane's Revenge that burns down Catholic churches and pregnancy resource centers, those are not hate groups.
So you got that? Moms for Liberty is a hate group. Antifa's not. But I get it. Have you seen all those moms with Hitler haircuts? And even though the SPLC was forced to admit that Nazi tattoos are bad, it was only until they were forced to answer a question about Plattner. Apparently, they didn't see a guy running for the Senate with a Nazi tattoo was a bad thing until the lights were on them yesterday. But it didn't matter. Plattner's primary was the same day, and he won. I wonder, did you make mistakes in your life?
I've made mistakes in my life, mistakes that I regret, that I live with, and that I continue to learn from. And I'm still far from perfect. But every day, I wake up and I try to be a little bit better and a little bit kinder than I was the day before.
Ah, and anyone who doesn't believe that, he says, is probably a dirty Jew. But look, Bernie, Schumer, Liz Warren, they all supported him. Think about that. Sure, it was easy for them to condemn hate when they were SPLC-created hoaxes. But with real racism staring at them from a bloated booze bag's chest, they embrace it. I guess real Nazi racists are not the greatest threat, but the fake ones are. I blame the filter they use, which excuses all their behavior. By framing everything as a war between them and Hitler, then every bad thing becomes acceptable. From the SPLC hate hoaxes to leftists destroying cars, the rioting, the blocking of people going to and from work, covering up a brain-dead president, censoring ideas online, attempting to assassinate a president 3 times, murdering Charlie Kirk, and now electing a Nazi-loving thug. See, all the awful things we've seen come down the pike are courtesy of the one Democrat hoax, which creates a path for them to do things they claim to condemn. See, they wouldn't support Plattner if he didn't vote like them, but he does. And for Dems, they'll do anything for power. No wonder they support the SPLC too, even though they're guilty of more hate than they claim to fight. It makes you wonder what else they'd support. I'm sure we're going to find out soon. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She's only here because she thinks I know a Jonas brother. Correspondent at the Federalist, Brianna Lehman. He looks like a life coach who lives with his mom. Writer and comedian Joe DeVito. When she wears a winter hat, people think she's a golf club. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News and the Washington Monument is his shoehorn. Former NWA World Champion and host of the Planet Tyrant podcast, Cyrus. There's so much here, Brianna. But I'm wondering, could you ever vote for somebody that you couldn't be alone with? It's like all these women are supporting Plattner, but they probably wouldn't want to be alone with him.
If I was a woman, if I were a male, I wouldn't want to be alone with him because he apparently thinks that women who drink too much are responsible for their own rape and men who break in deserve to be raped as punishment, but no homo is what he tells you.
Yeah.
And Greg, to your whole monologue, the entire point of the Democratic Party, their identity for the past decade has been to fight fascism. So what the SPLC did, for example, is they created fascism to then fight it. And what Democrats have done now is they've ran a candidate who is actually fascist. And so the party's gone from fighting against fascism to fighting for fascism.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it to be so egregious that they use the word fascist and Nazi. And they did it on purpose 10 years ago because they were trying to exploit the memory of Americans who watched 412,000 of our Americans win that fight against fascism with blood. And they exploited that memory to push for political gains. And now what you have is a case where they don't actually care about fascism and they're showing their true colors, and people are not upset about it. People are actually like, I mean, I can still vote for the guy. He's got a Nazi tattoo. But they have single-handedly shown themselves to be the hypocrites that we've all said they are for a decade.
Yeah, but he's just going to get a little bit better every day, Joe. I know you're not a racist, Joe.
How's that?
You didn't get any money from the SPLC.
I didn't get anything.
Maybe Graham Plattner did.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he did get the tattoo covered up.
Yes.
But with a swastika, which I thought was a little weird. So this guy is supposed to be a history buff, and he didn't know what that symbol was.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the third most recognizable symbol of the Third Reich. Was he saying like, oh, those SS? I thought it meant I like Susan Sarandon. I don't know what that meant, The truth is, like, look, if you have a tattoo of B. Arthur, you know who the Golden Girls are.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And
I wasn't drunk when I got that.
That was the full back piece.
We have matching tattoos over that.
And the way his answer seems to be rape for everything, that if you try to break into his house, he'll rape you. Like, why not start with a doorbell camera first and ease your way in?
My theory is that was a message that he knew somebody was coming over to his house because he probably had drugs or something there.
Just to cover up.
He was like trying to say, hey, you guys try to break into my place, I'm going to rape you, so don't steal my meth.
Yeah, well, I tell the Jehovah's Witnesses not to knock on that door. But when it comes, like, first, Southern Poverty, it sounds like a great name for a country band, but we know now they've been fighting the Klan by financing the Klan, and no one in the Biden administration, nobody looked at a line item in their deductions and said, well, the laundry of 1,000 bed sheets with eye holes cut in them, seems a little strange. So I would be so mad if I donated to them to fight racism. It's like giving money to the American Cancer Society and finding out they're dumping pallets of Marlboros on the schoolyards.
That is exactly right, Kat. It's the idea that people were donating. They're not like an intelligence group. They're not the FBI or CIA. They were a group that you donate to, and then they were developing, like, quote, what do you call those people that are inside organizations? Informants. That's not their job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there were real consequences. I mean, a woman was killed in Charlottesville, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just their list of enemies do not really equate with what I'm most afraid of in this world.
Right.
I'm not like, show me the single issue voter or even the person who is passionate about being very afraid of moms for liberty.
Yeah.
Of everything going on in the world, thinking, you know what, we're not doing enough about the moms for liberty.
Yeah.
Show me that person. Because I don't think that person exists. And even if the core, if I remember correctly, the core of Moms for Liberty was that they want to be moms who are able to know what's going on with their kids at school.
Yeah.
Which, to me, doesn't sound super dangerous, sounds very understandable. I don't know who these people are who are really this concerned about the stuff that they tried to blow up into these big things. And it really ended up ultimately, even if you take, obviously I mentioned already someone was killed, but also relationships were destroyed.
Yeah.
Because if you see that on a list of like, okay, Moms for Liberty are a hate group, and then maybe you see someone who is a family member or a friend who is supporting that group, if you don't do additional research on your own, which a lot of people don't because everyone's just scrolling all the time, you'd be like, oh, I can't talk to her anymore, she's a racist. And real relationships of people were actually broken up by this stuff.
Yeah, I used to hit on the Moms for Liberty videos, but I thought it was something else. I thought it was MLF, not FMFL. But I didn't hate them for it, Tyrus.
I think they might hate you for that, though, Greg. Listen, if you're going to put moms on the list, can you put baby mamas for Tyrus on the list? Because there's some real hate there sometimes. I think we're again, this is the problem when you have morals and you try to understand a group. The racism in this country, especially from white America, has dried up so much to where you had to invent it. Mm-hmm. So you have to look at the progress. Racism is so low that a group that's supposed to support minorities had to finance the Klan because white America got lazy and started respecting other people and working together with other people. That's... So, and by the way, what a better villainous name than Mr. Fair.
Yes.
Am I the only one? Yeah. Like, I was waiting for Mr. Fair's foot soldiers to jump out. Yeah. We know he bought them hoods.
Mr. Fair.
You know, and the thing, like, we're so upset about Air Plattner. I think we should all call him Hair Plattner from now on. Because we're the only thing different between him and the squad and the other ones is that he's white.
Yeah.
Because we sit and we watch people of color in the Senate, in the House, make racist remarks every day. They're anti-Jew, they're anti-white, they're anti-woman. He is exactly who they are. Of course they're going to shake hands and break bread with them because they have so much in common. Mm-hmm. The only difference is that white America still has a problem with bad white people because it's not, as the Republicans go, oh, if I did that, I'd be fired. Because why? We have rules. Mm-hmm. I think Machiavelli said it best, is like the biggest disadvantage is your enemy doesn't play by the same rules that you do. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing this. The Democratic Party is dead. This is a socialist party. They are no different. They keep like to mention Jim Crow. They are Jim Crow. It's just changed. Mm. And that's the way they get away with it because we still want to believe that it's not them. People in America, especially white America, really wants to believe that black people and the people who are getting into these offices, whether you're DI or not, hate them.
Yeah.
They are a party of hate, and now they're showing it off to everybody.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.